Teacher facilitation of learning is an important topic as we move toward more student-centered learning environments in schools today. As teachers move out of the telling role to create classrooms in which students grapple with content and construct knowledge, they take on the role of facilitators. However, the skill of facilitating learning is not a topic that has been given much attention. I introduced the skills of facilitation in Chapter 7 of Students Taking Charge. You see, even when students take charge of their own learning, they need powerful teacher facilitation to maximize their potential. I cover the topic in greater depth in Chapter 8 of It's Not What You Teach, But How. It's there that I introduce the Facilitation Roadmap. Now consider first that facilitating learning is different from supervising practice. You can supervise students practicing a skill that you've already taught by simply walking around and asking if they need help. Facilitating learning presumes that the learning has not yet taken place and is taking place through student engagement with content. So the beginning of the facilitation roadmap involves students being engaged with a challenge. It may be a challenge provided by the teacher, or one that followed naturally from the prior learning. The next step is to simply observe, watch, listen, and look for opportunities to facilitate the learning process. I like to say, never hover. Don't stand over your students. Pull up a chair or a stool, sit next to your students, eye to eye on their level. It helps to build social capital. Now, based on your quick assessment of the situation, take action. This is where the facilitation roadmap becomes a set of choices. If a student seems to be working without any problems and doesn't really need help, the last thing you want to do is move on to another student. First, your students don't know what they don't know. Second, it's a teacher's responsibility to challenge even their most gifted learner to new heights. So, dig deep into their thinking and ask questions. I recommend asking questions at 5 levels. For more on that, watch my video entitled 5 Levels of Facilitation Questions. Now, if a student is struggling significantly, that state of mind is not conducive to learning. At this point, do not make the student struggle another second. Provide direct instruction. Show the student what to do. Once you see the glimpse of a smile of understanding, ask a question to prompt the next skill or concept the student is ready to learn. And make sure that the student is on the right track before you leave. Now, if a student is stuck and frustrated, not knowing what to do next, suggest the next step. No need to completely teach the skill or concept. Just offer up the next step to try. Be careful not to ask too many questions to try to get the student to figure it out. In this case, the student needs help. If a student is stuck but not frustrated, and there are other places than you from which to obtain assistance, connect the student to the resource center or other classmates. If you use a peer expert board, ask students to see who up there might help. If you can identify a student who just worked through the same challenge, suggest the student go ask that student. This will help your students become more resourceful and not presume that only the teacher has the answer. If a student is stuck but not frustrated and has the confidence to break through, guide the student. This is often accomplished by asking a series of questions that allow the student to see his or her own process. You might also refer the student to a resource that's available. Chances are the student will actually identify the next step without you having to say it. If a student is almost at a breakthrough, offer encouragement. Avoid stealing the moment by offering the answer. Just confirm where the student is at in the process, and offer phrases such as, "You can do it," "You've almost got it." It's important, however, not to simply offer encouragement for students who are less able, thinking that you're making them feel good about themselves. For students who are less able, you need to go back to the other choices and set them up for success. Then you can provide encouragement when it's appropriate. Now, if a student has achieved a new level of mastery, celebrate it. Offer congratulations and specific feedback. Avoid judgments such as "you're smart" or "you're great," and instead focus on the habit, approach, characteristic, quality that the student brought to the situation. Throughout this entire process, you'll want to gather formative assessment data to put on your formative assessment grid. For more on that, you can watch my video on the content facilitation grid. Did the student master the skill? Can the student explain the skill such that another student could learn from the explanation? You may have found a peer expert on the skill. Is the student demonstrating hesitant mastery, leaving you feeling as though you should offer up some targeted homework? Is the student struggling so significantly that you want to schedule a small group mini lesson for those who are struggling with this skill? You'll glean valuable data from facilitation, and then based on that data, you can now design additional learning activities and assignments to take your students to the next level and then offer them that next challenge. Purposeful and deliberate teacher facilitation produces learning. For a copy of the Facilitation Roadmap, visit the IDE portal at ideportal.com and enter through the demo mode. More detailed information on all of the resources mentioned here may be found on the IDE portal, our online instructional resource. You'll find a variety of resources available through the demo mode, but if you're not a subscriber and would like to be, visit our website for pricing information. You can also follow our YouTube channel for new videos, and I hope you'll follow me on Twitter. Thanks for joining me today.